Hi guys, this is Conspiracy Dean from surrealpsd.com and I'm proud to present Art System Photoshop, video training for digital artists. So these two videos basically is a little bit of a course overview and giving you a heads up on the pro workflow that we'll be using. If you're anything like me, you hate presentations, so fortunately these are short and sweet. What I'd advise is you watch these two in their entirety and then you can cherry pick and work through the rest of the course as you see fit. The actual course itself was designed in a linear fashion, so if you follow it in order, that's probably the best way to get through it. Photomanipulation. I absolutely love this art form. I like it because it's accessible and the learning curve itself isn't too steep. You can really get a great quality work and skill set in a very short amount of time, which is good. It's my belief that a collection of tricks can only take you so far. Now, the reason why I say that is because the first 10 years of me practicing, I was collecting little dribs and drabs from here and there, online tutorials, guides, magazine articles, and I was improving, but not at the rates that I would really like. So that's one of the kind of guiding tenets of this course. The fundamentals themselves do not take long to learn. A couple of months of intense practice and you'll be getting your skill set right up there. Overall, the entire course could be summarised as like an A to B roadmap for creating composite art, or photo manipulation as is otherwise known. The overall goal, what I'd like you guys to be doing is achieving broadcast quality with your work. So that could be summarised as razor sharp final output, it looks good. Flawless compositing, that's cutting out elements, dealing with solid objects, hair. Compositionally strong is like the visual impact of a piece, how it stands out, and the hierarchy of elements. And also, we'll throw in a few tricks along the way. Get the fundamentals sorted, and then you have the freedom to develop your own style. So I'll give you a little bit of context for the actual course itself and a bit about me. I started freelancing at the age of 14. This was actually before the internet, and I was producing event flyers for local drum and bass promoters, so that's pretty much how it all started. Everything was guesswork. I was kind of going around in circles, piecing bits together from here and there, video tutorials, magazines, guides. So I was improving, but not at the greatest rate you could imagine. Each time I learnt a core skill, my skill set took a massive leap, which means I advanced in a very short amount of time because I picked up one of the absolute fundamentals of the software. Through continual practice, I eventually found success online and scored some great clients. I worked with some awesome people from all around the world, and I really took my brand, the Conspiracy Digital Arts, into something bigger. So through that process of trial, error and research, it took around 16 years. In 2011, I was given the opportunity to teach at Canterbury Christchurch University in the UK, and it afforded me the opportunity to test out my theories, working with the students to see if I could take my skill set and successfully pass it on to students at the university level. The main challenge was to condense all that I'd learnt into a single module. So modules, assignments, roughly 3 months per project. One of the tricky things or tricky aspects of all of this is that many of my students had never actually used Photoshop before, so we had to start from absolute basics. The system that was devised, basically, I took the most important 20% of software knowledge and art theory and condensed that into the module, kind of ruling out all the other stuff. Adobe Photoshop itself is a huge piece of software, and if you just laboriously outline every function, technique and skill, it's just going to cause complete overwhelm. And I wanted to not run into that issue, so I took the Pareto principle. I thought, what are the most important 20% of the skill set, and put all of the laser focus right into that. So that was the kind of principles behind the art system, and the results. Well, to say the least, I was blown away by what my students achieved. It was really, really good work coming in. On one side, I was happy that we found success as a group. On the flip side, it was slightly infuriating. These students got better in 3 months than it took me 6 to 10 years of solid practice to achieve the levels that these guys were getting. So it swings and roundabouts. Sweet Jeebus, the system worked. To see if the system was truly effective, I needed to try it with a different group just to ensure that that group of students I was working with weren't a bunch of mutants. Fortunately, I was given the opportunity to work at another campus, so it was deployed across 2 universities. And then I also worked with different age groups through lectures, workshops and one-to-one coaching projects as well. Right across the board, every student that put the hours in unanimously found success. So I'll say right here, right at the beginning, that this isn't a quick fix or magic pill. You are literally going to have to put in hours of work. But ironically, you will get there, the results that you desire, a lot faster. Like I said before, these guys got more in 3 months than I did in 6 years. So as a group, how do we get there? Well, it was an intense period of focus and application from the students, and we kept the emphasis on the essential to prevent overwhelm, which is very common when somebody gets into a new area that's quite complex. The pro workflow right from the outset. Good practice, good ways of working, positive ways of working, and if you learn them right at the beginning, you have a solid grounding to take your work to the next level. Sharpened non-software skills. These are areas that most Photoshop tutorial websites and courses don't even touch with a barge pole, and that's slightly annoying because anybody can learn Photoshop in a week, but to develop as a visual artist, you need a much broader skill set. So these are 3 areas that I feel are very important in the workflow. Visual awareness. Basically, art can't exist in a vacuum. You need to know what's good. You need to know what's not good and the reasons why. And to do that is very simple. You just ingest more. You look at more. Another one, composition, is the kind of position of your elements, and then that ties in with hierarchy and scale. So your different elements, background, midground, foregrounds, the scale of those and how they relate to each other. And we'll be covering all these points in depth throughout the course. Again, I'll stress these factors cannot be ignored. This art form requires a much broader skill set than software knowledge alone. I'm going to play devil's advocate here, and I believe that many Photoshop courses fail to recognise this. So that's the brief overview. I'll see you in the next lesson where we'll get to grips with the pro workflow. See you then.